Coral Reef Restoration Project. For Kirra Reef. Kirra Reef had a reputation in the 1980s for being one of the most interesting dive sites in Gold Coast. It is a rocky reef 400 meters outward from Kirra Beach in Coolangatta, Gold Coast. It is a beautiful reef to dive with schools of fish and nudibranchs, as well as wobbegongs and even rays if you are lucky. However, sand pumping activities in the area to combat soil erosion have left the Kirra Reef completely covered with sand. This site has been regenerating on its own for some time, but it may soon be covered by sand again. A place that used to be full of life and abundance is now just a fragment of what it was. We want to help it go back to its vibrant state, while keeping the sand pumping activities ensuring the safety of the coastline. We chose this site because we can see its potential not only to battle climate change and declining numbers of marine life, but also to boost tourism and economy by attracting people to spots like this. We also think it can be a great opportunity to make people aware about marine conservation and how great things can be done literally in our backyard, in this case, Kirra Reef. Such an accessible site makes people care more about their natural world because they can see it firsthand. The high sedimentation rate at this area is the main limiting factor at this site. Because of that, the strategy of this project is to grow resilient and sediment-tolerant corals, adapted to this environment. The in-situ nurseries were chosen to make sure that only individuals with these characteristics will be transplanted to the restoration area afterwards. Floating structures are a good option in sandy environments to reduce sedimentation stress on corals. The floating structure was considered the most appropriate type since the water movement in mid-water depth helps to wash off the sediment from the structure and corals. If nurseries are built in an area where bleaching is a concern, these nursery structures can be lowered during high temperatures to reduce the likelihood of bleaching. This same concept may be applicable for high-energy conditions such as storms, although lowering too much may have a negative effect due to the sand movement. Another advantage of the floating structure is that its depth can be adjusted according to the sunlight regime and water level, which can optimize the coral's growth conditions. These structures can increase coral growth and decrease the prevalence of disease and predation, depending on the location and techniques used. The proximity of the Kirra Reef to the coast facilitates the frequent maintenance at the nursery. Keeping structures at least 1 meter above the seafloor will reduce predation and sedimentation during periods of high wave energy. A set of 36 floating PVC trees will be installed in a 900 square meters area for growing and rearing branching corals nearby the Kirra Reef. Each tree will measure 3 meters in height and 1.5 meters in width. They will be separated by 5 meters distance to each other and will be attached to the sea bottom by a concrete block. Buoys will be used to keep the structure vertically in the water column and to signalize the extension of the nursery for boats and tourists. The ideal weight of the concrete block, the buoy size and cable specifications which composes the tree structure will be determined by an expert in marine anchorage. For that, a consulting will be hired to develop the anchorage project, aiming to make the nursery structure resistant, safe and handy. The first objective is, accelerate the recovery of a disturbed reef and re-establish a self-sustaining ecosystem within the limitations and conditions of the site. The main activities are, resilient corals, which survived adverse conditions, such as bleaching and high temperature, will be collected and grown in a tree structure, a method used to grow corals that will later be transplanted to a reef. Empty nursery structures can be repopulated with new fragments and the cycle can start over. Estimated time in which reefs become fully functional, 3 to 5 years. The second objective is to reduce population declines and ecosystem degradation. Activities, direct interventions, manage local activities that directly affect the reef, restrict fishing for herbivorous fish and docking and stranding activities. Objective 3 is to provide sustainable livelihood opportunities and coral reef conservation management, activities, constant maintenance and local monitoring, workshops covering coral restoration and training for aspiring conservationists in restoration ecology and reef restoration techniques. Through practical, tangible and innovative solutions, we aim to bring improvements to the Kirra Reef, increasing the health of its ecosystem and increasing its resilience in the face of adversity.